Well, we're truly in the countdown moments now. I'm doing this on Tuesday morning. Trade deadline is Thursday. We're continuing to play what I hear and what I think as the deadline moves closer. And look, the team that had everything, we thought, the defending champions, think about what they did in the offseason, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They signed Michael Conforto, Hae-Sung Kim, Roki Sasaki, Tanner Scott, Blake Snell, and Kirby Yates. They re-signed to keep from their championship team Teoscar Hernandez, Kike Hernandez, Clayton Kershaw, and Blake Trinan. What did that do? That took their payroll over 400 million. It took their luxury tax bill. It will be over 160 million. I mean, they're flush. The Shohei Ohtani contract, how much money's deferred and how much money he brings in as an attraction, allowed them to be bold. And the reason they wanted to be bold is Andrew Friedman, their head of baseball operations, really hates this time of year, feeling hostage to having to do things. And he wanted to try to make the roster as bulletproof as possible. But you know what? You can't make a roster bulletproof in baseball. There's just too much withering effect. There's too much skill, and guys sometimes don't perform up to the level against that skill. And the Dodgers have taken on some water, right? Michael Conforto, one of those ads, has not played well this year. They have some needs in the outfield now. Overall, the outfield does not perform well. Mookie Betts has been, how about this if I would have told you this in spring training? Mookie Betts has been a much better shortstop than hitter. He's handled the new position well. He has not hit. Tommy Edman, after a great start, hasn't really hit that great for the Dodgers. But the question is really around pitching, where they've had so many injuries. 4.24 ERA, it's 23rd in the major leagues. Their bullpen ERA is 24th. But the bigger issue is they've thrown almost 40 more innings out of that bullpen than any other team in the major leagues. Now, some of that is by design. Shohei Ohtani is being slow played towards October to be built up. So he's been used as an opener. But in general, they've had so many injuries. And then they've had not great performance. Two of the guys they thought were bulking up this bullpen, Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates, have not pitched particularly well. Blake Trinan, who they love, just came back, and he always pitches well pretty much when he pitches, but he's hurt all the time. So there's a real question about what could be done there. I think they're going to need a bullpen guy. They're looking for a bullpen guy. One thing to keep in mind, they thought they had built up so much in the offseason that they'd be the weird team that would be full contenders now and be able to sell because they have depth. And they might actually end up doing that because Blake Snell is very close to returning from his injury. They believe they're going to get Roki Sasaki back in September, late August, September. They believe with their bullpen, they're getting much closer to guys like Michael Kopech in the next few weeks, Brosdor Gratterall after that, and they can move Emmett Sheehan, high-end stuff into the bullpen, and that they might have Dustin May to trade in this market. Now, Dustin May has a 4.85 ERA, but the desperation is so great for starting pitching out there that I think that they might actually be able to use him as part of a trade, maybe send him to a contender who needs some innings and wants to try to play his high side. But it's another time to show that you can have everything. The Dodgers, who we thought had everything in the offseason when they went into overkill mode, definitely need a relief pitcher and probably going to try to get an outfield bat before this is all done. Item number 2, the Rays play to their reputation. They're the buyer-seller of this marketplace. On Monday, they both traded a catcher, Danny Jansen, and acquired a catcher, Nick Fortes. At the time of the trade, they were 53 and 53. They then went out and beat the Yankees. I think they like Fortes because they see him probably as somewhat overall equal value to Jansen, and they get 3.5 years of control. Jansen was signed through next year, so they don't, the greater control, lower price. Rays are always doing that. Here's what I keep in mind about the Rays. Their owner, Stu Sternberg, has an agreement to sell the team. Nothing's ever guaranteed until all the I's are dotted, etc. All the other owners put their thumb up. But the expectation is this team is getting sold, and Sternberg is leaving, and there is a desire for a last hurrah season there, that they want to kind of go for it. But they're the Rays. What does go for it mean? Well, they're still talking to teams. Lots of them are interested in their first baseman, Yandy Diaz. I do not expect him to get traded. everyone is available, but it's a very high price. And the Rays usually have a standard that if they give an undervalued contract, long-term contract to someone, they keep them as a sign of faith because the player signed the contract with them. Now, somebody who did that earlier in his career, Brandon Lau, still has about a $12.5 million option for next year. He's in play. The problem is he's on the injured list. It's a contract that they could take on for next year without killing them, whoever the new owner is. So they put a high price on him. The Mets were very interested in Brandon Lau last offseason. I heard they're interested last spring trade deadline. I hear they're interested in him again today. So I think that he's in play. The Astros are looking for lefty hitters. Complicating the issue for the Rays is Shane McClanahan hasn't pitched all year, and he keeps having setbacks. He recently had a bicep setback. He had Tommy John surgery in August of 23. They want to maybe trade Zach Littell, who's in his walk year. That could still happen. They're getting lots of calls on Taj Bradley and Shane Baz, two high-end stuff guys whose stuff hasn't fully translated in the major leagues. But it's harder to go for it and trade a starter if they're not sure when McClanahan's going to come back. And keep this in mind, how long has it been since Shane McClanahan pitched? Would you believe that Wander Franco, their shortstop who had to go on the ineligible list because of his off-the-field legal problems, has played a game more recently for the Tampa Bay Rays, August 12th, 2023, than McClanahan has started a game for them, August 2nd, 2023. And just a little New York angle here on that Fortes trade. The Marlins have been playing three catchers this year, Liam Hendricks, Fortes, and Agustin Ramirez, who was the key guy that the Marlins got for Jazz Chisholm. This is clearly a sign that Ramirez, who's a bat-first catcher, is going to probably get a lot more chances. He started a lot this year, but it had been broken pretty much into thirds. This is a sign that the rest of the year, the Marlins, who have played much better this year, are going to kind of try to use Ramirez more and see just how good a catcher he is. Here's what I'll finish up on. The Rangers had been one of the hottest teams in baseball. They lost on Monday, but they ended the weekend having won 6 in a row, 9 out of 10. It took them to a season high 6 over 500. They got tied for the final wild card spot. They got within 4 games of the first place Astros. Them and the Mariners are trying to challenge the Astros in the AL West. But even before then, I had heard that all things being equal, that Rangers head of baseball operations, Chris Young, wanted to go for it this year. And that's not only because he's competitive and he thinks he has a good team, and both of those things are true. But Bruce Bochy is in the final year of his contract. He's 70. He's a guy who's had health problems along the way. There's a strong sense that this is going to be the final season for Bochy, a Hall of Fame-bound manager who's won 4 championships, including one with the Rangers in 2023. And so I texted Chris Young, and I'll read the quote back he said to me. I said, I heard you're going for it, essentially, no matter what, because of Bochy. You want to honor it. And he said, I have great admiration and respect for Bochy and want to do our best to give him a chance to win again. So I think one of the worst kept secrets in baseball is Skip Schumacher, who had been the Marlins manager in 2022 and 23, actually won a Manager of the Year award there. He was hired as a special assistant to Chris Young in the offseason, and the feeling is he's locked and loaded and ready to go as the manager of the team next year, if and when Bochy leaves, and they're going for it, Texas. What do they need? They want a bat, preferably right-handed, and they want some relief help, and they want to take a shot at one more time winning for Bruce Bochy.